Hello and welcome to the Sugar Plum Robin Knitting Podcast. My name's Ray and I'm a knitter in Edinburgh, very not sunny Edinburgh. And hello, welcome. It's really nice to see you here. If this is your first time watching, then hello. I hope you enjoy my little podcast about knitting and making. And if you're someone who's coming back, then very welcome. It's lovely that you've come back. Today I didn't expect to have time to record. It's only that I was supposed to be going to visit a school today. So if you're new, I'm a writer. I write poetry predominantly, and I do a lot of work in workshops in schools, and I teach creative writing and so on. And I was supposed to be in school today and tomorrow this week over in Paisley on the other side of Glasgow, but I'm not very well, so I've had to cancel and pull out of that, and it's being rearranged and resorted. So it's a bit of a shame not to be going and doing some poetry workshops with the kids, but nice to be able to record this podcast instead. So I've been a bit unwell, but I'm here, I'm ready to talk about knitting, I'm very happy, so hopefully it will be lovely. In my normal episodes, I share a poem at the start and end because I love poems, I love poetry. Sometimes they're by me, sometimes they're by other people. Today I thought, in honour of the school workshops I've been doing, because I've been doing a whole series of workshops in Paisley, I would read one of the class poems that the children have written in a school that I went to last week. In the school is called Woodlands Primary School. So this was sort of aged 9 and 10-year-old kids. I spent the day with them and we wrote some poems together, and then in the end they wrote a big class poem, and this is their class poem. I really love it, and I hope you will too. So this is written by the children of Woodlands Primary School. It was called When I Was a Star. When I was a star, I played golf with aliens. When I was a star, I lay on my invisible bed. When I was a star, I had earth muffins for breakfast. When I was a star, I inspired little kids to stargaze and dream. When I was a star, I played hide and seek on the moon. When I was a star, I got sunburn. When I was a star, my mum left me alone. When I was a star, the children looked up. When I was a star, I watched rockets fly by. When I was a star, I ate the galaxy. When I was a star, I would burst like a nova. When I was a star, I liked looking down at Earth to see what's going on. When I was a star, I played football with the planets and won the Universe Cup. When I was a star, I would sing to the moons. When I was a star, I floated in the sky all the time, waiting for something. When I was a star, I made a pattern with others. When I was a star, I had golden limbs. When I was a star, I would play in a starry place. When I was a star, I went to star school and learned how to explode and make my own universe. When I was a star, I gave birth to another star. When I was a star, I shone like luxury. So I think the children did such a fantastic job. I was so delighted with that poem. What they did was they each wrote their own poem about when they were a star, based on the idea that we're all made out of stardust. All the elements in our bodies that make us were made in stars. And they wrote about what their life had been like when they were a star. And together we voted on a line from each child's poem and put them together to make this class poem. It was really fun. There's my poem. Now on to the knitting. So I am wearing my Mariposa Sweater. This is a pattern by Beatriz Rubio that I finished recently. It is a lovely design. It is knit in West Yorkshire Spinners fleece Blueface Leicester double knitting. So last time I showed this, I mentioned that the sleeves were coming up a bit short, and I wasn't sure if I liked it or didn't like it, or if I was going to add to them, or if it would change with blocking. So I had already blocked the body but not the sleeves. I've now blocked the sleeves and I really like them. They're a really nice length, and see where they are, not too long but not too short either. I can pull them down over my hands. So I've not added anything onto them. Sorry, my chair is a bit noisy, but I can stand up and show you some of the lovely texture of this jumper. It's got quite a wide boxy fit, and then these slightly narrower sleeves. It's just a drop shoulder design that is knit in the round. It's got this lovely texture to it. Yeah, it's a really nice jumper. I'm super pleased with how it's turned out, so I thought I'd wear it and show you. The sleeves have improved. I'm pleased. So, what have I been knitting? I've been doing a bunch of knitting, especially because I've been on the train back and forth to the schools, trying to, get to the workshops, because I don't drive, so I go on public transport, and so that's been a good couple of hours of knitting time each time I've gone. So, finished objects. I have finished my this sweater. This is the Whitmoor pullover by Amy Loudon, and I have finished it, and it's beautiful. I love it very, very much. I'm really, really delighted with how this has come out. And it's same front and back. It's a lovely, lovely pattern to knit. I found it really addictive. I just, what do they call it? Potato chippy, where you just want to go more and more and do one more round until you're done. I cast this on Christmas Day. It was my Christmas Day cast on. And I finished it in January. So it took me about a month to make it. What can I say about it? So it is knit with, the pattern's written with a strand of fingering and a strand of mohair held together. I used a sport weight yarn. It was the Ordine Wools Shine Sport, which has got silk and tencel and merino. And this is the colourway Sprout. If you can see, there's little bits of sort of speckles and flecks of green and of brown in there. Oops. So that's this one. And I held that together with Drops Kid Silk, so a lace weight silk mohair in the colour Off-White. I really love how it's come out. I really love how lovely and drapey it is, and it's so soft and so luxurious. The kind of the silk and the merino and the mohair make this really soft and lovely. There are two different sleeve options with this. You can do a tapered sleeve, which is more fitted, or you can do a bishop sleeve, which you knit straight and kind of longer and then decrease right at the end. So that's the option that I chose. I'm very short, I'm 5 feet tall, and I have small arms and small everything, apart from maybe belly. So I knit it a few inches shorter than the pattern said, but it still works fine. It fits me well. This is knit from the top down, so it's very easy to try on as you go, which is lovely. And I really like it. It fits me perfectly. The fabric that it's made is really nice. It's very neutral, but the little flecks just make it a little bit special. I don't know if it's coming up well on there, but I'm knocking the camera. I'm pleased with it. I'm really pleased with it. So it's knitting around with a lace yoke, top down, 1x1 rib. It's a wonderful pattern. It's incredibly well written and charted. It's simple. If you've made a few pullovers before and you think you're ready to tackle some lace, I can definitely recommend starting with this one. It's incredibly straightforward. And although I wouldn't say it's necessarily completely easy and beginner, because it does have a bit of lace, it's as simple and straightforward and well laid out as that could possibly be. So I'm definitely going to make more of these. I don't normally knit multiple versions of the same pattern because I like to try new things and explore all the different patterns, and I have a queue a mile long on Ravelry, so I don't tend to make the same pattern over and over again, but I'm definitely going to make more of these. And in fact, I have one already kind of lined up in my mind that I want to make for my sister, because I think this would be exactly her kind of thing. So yeah, knitting for my sister. I have two sisters. My middle sister is a particularly knit-worthy person, and she likes hand-knitted things, and I've been making her hand-knitted things for a long, long time. I realised recently that I've been knitting for about 30 years, just over 30 years, which made me feel old. And I've been knitting for my sister for a lot of that, because she likes knitted things, she likes a hand-knitted thing. But she can be quite sensitive to certain kinds of wool, and she is sensitive to mohair, so I will have to be making her version in something slightly different. But I actually have a double knitting weight wool that is really fluffy but doesn't have mohair that I've been saving. I have a sweater's quantity of it, which I think would be good for her, and it's in a very neutral sort of beigey colour, and she likes a neutral colour. So I think I'll do that for her. And I was knitting this when one of my daughter's friends, Madeline, who I've knit for before, and you might, if you've been watching this podcast from the beginning, you might recall a few things that I've made for Madeline. And she's, again, a very knit-worthy person. She knits herself, she loves knitting, she loves everything handmade, and she's been having a bit of a rubbish time during the lockdowns and the pandemic, and she has been a bit anxious and a bit sad, so I wanted to cheer her up. And I made her a bunch of things. So I was working on this and finishing it up, and she was looking at it and saying how nice it was and how lovely, and how she would love a jumper like this. So I'm thinking, if I make the very smallest size, she's 10, but I think if I made the smallest size, it would probably fit her in a kind of loose and oversized way. And she said, oh yes, in a lovely deep blue. So I think I'm going to try and do like a lovely deep powder blue for her and make her a version of this. She wears a lot of blue, it's her favourite. So that's my finished object, and I have some little finished objects as well, but I'm going to show them at the end or later on. For now, I'm going to go into works in progress. Works in progress, okay. So to start with, well, it's not exactly finished, but I've almost finished this first sock of this set of socks, which I was working on last year, and I sort of put to one side, and I cast on the second one. I'm not the greatest sock knitter. I struggle with it, and I realised as I was making this that I think a big part of that is that I don't like knitting socks with DPNs, which is how I always used to do it. I'm not so keen on that. Oh, the colours aren't coming across as vibrantly as they should, but this is really lovely vibrant colours. Don't know if that's showing very well for you. I used to knit them with double pointed needles. I didn't like that. I've switched to magic loop, which is better, but I still don't really like it. So I've bought myself like one of those really tiny circular needles to try those and see if they're any better. But actually these are 2mm needles, which is what I need. I'm quite a loose knitter, and what I need to have like a sturdy enough fabric that it doesn't just stretch out. So I have a pair of socks that I knit for myself last year that ended up really stretched out. Every time I wear them, they stretch out, and then I wash them and they shrink again. But it means that I can't really wear them very easily. They just sort of end up literally falling off my feet because they're so big, even though they fit perfectly when I first put them on. They grow as I'm wearing them. So I was trying to have that not happen with this pair. So I've been knitting them really tightly with a really tight gauge and slightly smaller. And for the number of stitches I need for my tiny feet and at this tight gauge, it wouldn't stretch around the circumference of this needle, this little tiny circular needle. So I was sort of back to the drawing board, so I'm still magic looping these. And the other ones, the little circular needles, I think what I'm going to do is try them with mittens and see if they make a difference on mittens or not. Because also I'm kind of a serial single mitten knitter. I have lots of single mittens which don't have pairs from over the years when I've knit one and not finished them. So these are just a simple vanilla sock from my own head, because I've knit enough socks over the years, even though I don't really like knitting them, that I know how to make a sock top down or cuff down with just, a normal pointy toe. I like knitting a pointy toe with a Kitchener stitch at the bottom. And but I've never done afterthought, this is technically a forethought heel, because I've put in a line of this grey waste yarn. But I wanted to do it for this one, for these socks, because I really like the stripe pattern with these nice wide stripes, and I didn't want to disrupt it. So I've not done the heel yet, because what I want to do is see if I've got plenty of yarn from this ball left or not by the time I get the second sock finished. And either I will have enough yarn left that I can do the heel with this yarn, or I might choose a contrast yarn for the heel. I've not decided yet. So I thought I'd finish both of the kind of the tubes and then decide what I wanted to do for the heel. So that's my sock, which I've been working on a little bit. Sock. Okay, the next thing that I've been doing is a test knit for Gribba DK, who's Christian. She's a designer. I think she's fairly new. I'll put a link to her in the description. I will try and put everything in the description if I can. If I forget anything and that you'd like to know and I've forgotten to put it in, please just let me know. Drop me a comment or a message on Instagram or something, or in Ravelry, and I will try and find that info for you and put it on there. Another thing, I know that somebody has been saying that that it's too quiet at the moment, that the videos are too quiet for them, and I'm really sorry about that. I'm not sure quite how to fix it. I'm using my laptop to record because my phone is sort of half broken, and I've been using this new editing software on my laptop, and I don't really know completely how to change it, but I am working on it. I'm trying to I'm not very technologically gifted, but I will just do my best, and so bear with me if this one's also quiet. I'm so sorry. I am trying to find a solution. Okay, the test knit. This is called the Have-Torn Sweater. It is, I've only got a little bit, I only just started. I was swatching and working on it. Again, I think the colour is blowing out somewhat. I wonder if I can adjust this a little. This is the start of it. It's top down in the round, and it's knit in this Diablo multi from Hobby, which is so the Diablo yarn is a mix of mohair, nylon and acrylic. I'm going to try and turn it back over this way. Mohair, nylon and acrylic. And what they've done for the Diablo multi is they're holding multiple strands. They've put, I think it's 5 strands of their Diablo, their normal Diablo, which I think is like a lace weight yarn. They've got 5 strands of it together to make each thread. So it's very fluffy, very light, but still quite thick, knit on really thick needles, which is nice because it makes it quick. So this this colour is number 4, which is Pastel Sky. This isn't showing very well at all. Don't know. but you can maybe take my word for it that it's a really nice colour. It's actually, the fact that you've got the 5 threads held together means they could do some really nice, interesting and subtle things with the colours, where they have like maybe just 1 or 2 of the colours in different colours than the main colour. So this is kind of a foggy, misty blue, but underneath that there's a little, pastel, purpley, pinky, bluey kind of colours. It's really nice, and it comes together to make this really lovely colour, which I think has quite a lot of depth to it, while still being fairly neutral. I chose the most neutral colour that I could, because some of the colours are very nice and loud, but not what I wanted for this project with the lace that I wanted to show off. So this is a top-down lace yoke. It goes very quickly with the chunky yarn. I'm knitting it on 7mm needles. The pattern calls for 8, but I got gauged with 7 because I'm, again, quite a loose knitter. It's been a really lovely test so far to be part of. So it's lace yoke, then it splits for the sleeves. And yeah, sort of fairly standard construction of the body and the sleeves, I think. What I'm really loving about it are all the little tiny details, the little touches that make this interesting. Like I said, I mentioned I've been knitting for 30 years, but some of these techniques are new to me, and maybe part of that's because I've not been so adventurous, but I think it's really interesting. I don't know if you can see here, there are these elongated stitches here, which are really interesting to knit. It's a kind of pistachio stitch, which was new to me. I'd not used that before, I think. And I think it's a lovely little detail. And then the lace itself has certain stitches, like a 3 to 2 centered decrease and things like that, which are slightly new techniques to me. And none of these are difficult. I've just not come across them before, I've just not done them before. But the pattern lays them out really clearly, and also has videos of how to do each of the stitches, so it's very straightforward to do them. And it's nice to feel like you're adding new skills and techniques to your repertoire as a knitter. This is also going to be a really lightweight, so this is jangling because I make my own stitch markers, and I made some using these tiny little jingly bells that I got from a craft shop. But now my knitting jingles, which I should have thought about. But yeah, I think this sweater is going to be a really lightweight sweater. The yarn is so fluffy and so light. I think it's going to be really nice, but it's still going to be nice and warm. Yeah, it's a lovely test knit. I've only just begun because I was waiting for the yarn to arrive, but it's going very quickly. I only really started this yesterday, and yeah, I think it's going quite well. So that's this one. Again, that's not a pattern that's released yet. It's still in testing, but I'll put a link to the designer underneath, and you can see if you go to my Ravelry page, if Ravelry is accessible to you, which I know it's not for everybody, unfortunately. But all my details will be on my project pages as well. So yeah, my final work in progress that I'll share with you today is this one. There's not much to show of it yet. Again, I'm just starting really, just doing the first little bit, and it's in white, so it will blow out completely. But yeah, just a little bit of this project, and it's lovely and mindless, this piece, because it's worked in pieces. So this is a jumper, a sweater. I know that jumper means something different in the US than it means over here in Scotland. This is the Fairy Sweater by Estabilis Yuango. And I'm just knitting it in King Cole Price Wise double knitting, which is just an acrylic basic yarn, which I knit a lot of my Christmas stockings in, so I have loads of it around. I'm trying really hard to use stash yarn as much as possible this year. I broke that slightly with the Diablo Multi. I ordered that in because I really wanted to use the recommended yarn for that pattern for the test. But I'm trying. to use my stash yarn. We're all trying to do that, aren't we? With varying levels of success. Here is, the beginning of the back piece. So this is for a 7-year-old. You can see it's really wide, but it's not, like, this is the right size. It should be 50 centimetres wide or 49 centimetres wide. It's a really boxy pattern to the point where I've been a bit worried about what the final thing will be like, but I'm trusting Establis that she knows what she's doing and that this will work out right. So this pattern is so cute. It's so cute. And I will, if I can, like I said, I'm using this different editing software and I'm not anywhere near good at it yet, but I will try and put a picture in of her pattern because hopefully you can see it is so cute. It's adorable. And I saw the testing call for this go out, and I follow Establis on Instagram, and I wanted to test knit it, but it was just before Christmas in kind of November, I think, time, and I was deep in stocking knitting, and I thought there's no way, I don't want to stress myself out, but I asked her to please let me know when the pattern's out because I would buy it. And the pattern came out the other day, so I bought it and I cast on, and I'm so excited because this fairy sweater has these little fairies on the front that are kind of part colourwork and part texture. They are so adorable, and I happen to know a little girl who's in our home ed group. My daughter's home educated, and she's in our home ed group. She's 6 years old. She loves fairies, and her name's Meg, and she's just adorable. One of the greatest joys in my life is knitting little garments for all the little people that I know. I love it. So as soon as I saw this back in November, I thought that would be so perfect for Meg. She would look so cute in that little sweater. So I'm making this for Meg. I'm making it in the 6 to 7-year-old size because children grow so quick. And I'm making it with acrylic because I have it and it's machine washable. And Meg's mum, she's got 3 kids, she home educates them all, and she's not got time to be hand washing things. No. So I got this, which could go in the wash very easily. So I chose this. It's like actually very slightly off-white, but basically white as the background colour, and I'm going to try and stick fairly closely to the recommended colours with pinks and purples, I think. And it's knit in pieces, flat and then seamed. This is the back, so it's just very easy back and forth knitting. As I mentioned, I've been a bit unwell and my head's been a bit foggy in that unwell way where, everything feels a bit slow and syrupy. And when I'm struggling with lace or with trying to work out the sock, then this is very, very nice, easy TV knitting. It's just literally, I think it's a drop shoulder construction, so the back is just a nice big square of stockinette, which is lovely to do and is coming up really nicely. And when I'm knitting it, I'm thinking about my lovely friends, Meg and her family. And Meg's big brother is in hospital at the moment. He's okay, but they're not completely sure what's wrong, and it's a whole thing. And so I've been thinking about them a lot lately. So it felt really good that this pattern came out just now and I could make something for them. And yeah, so that's the fairy sweater. Okay, we're getting there. So my next thing is kind of a finished object. I'm trying to remember if I showed this last time. Maybe I did. So I've been sewing. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. No, I think maybe I didn't. I've been sewing. I've been sewing little felt ornaments. I've been really enjoying it. My husband has a laser cutter, and he uses which he uses for woodwork. He makes really intricate kind of wooden puzzles and games and things, which he sells on Etsy. And he's been cutting out all these shapes for me to make these little woodland creatures. Did I show them last time? Can't remember. So I made these little woodland creatures. There's a little robin and an owl Here is a mushroom. I love mushrooms. And a badger. And a hedgehog. And a rabbit. And a fox. So here are some little woodland creatures. So this is a pattern by, I wrote it down on my my notes while I'm looking down here, Polychrome Crafts on Etsy. So we made these. I can't remember if I showed you them last time or not, but we made these. And then my husband said he thought he could make his own patterns for making little creatures and ornaments. So he's been doing that. He's been making a bunch. So I'll just show you the first one because I've just finished the first one of his designs, which is a little Easter chick. And you can see it's kind of egg-shaped. This is the little Easter chick. Oh, it's blowing out a lot. You can't really see the embroidery. So I've embroidered some flowers and things onto this one. And it's just a little cute Easter chick. So this is the first one, and I'm going to make a little banner of them. So I need lots of little chicks, and he's made me a rabbit as well. It's all cut out and I just need to sew it. So this is my little Easter, beginning of Easter crafting. And I'm doing lots of Easter crafting this year because last year our homemade group didn't get an Easter egg hunt, which we normally do an Easter egg hunt every year, and they didn't get one this time last year because of COVID and the lockdown, and it's just a shame. They missed out on so much the last few years, as many children all over the world have done, and many adults. So this year we're having a big outdoor egg hunt for them and trying to make it as special as possible. So I'm making lots of little Easter crafts to kind of make it as nice as possible for them. And I have this little box, actually originally had biscuits in, I think, and I've been keeping all my Easter finished objects in here. I've only got a few so far because we've got quite a while to go before Easter, but I can show you some of them. So I've just basically been knitting little egg cozies. So you can see this is a little chick. I've got 2 of these little chicks. And these are so simple. So I can't remember the names of each of these individual patterns, but I'll link them. These are all free patterns and I'll link them in the description. So these, you can see they've got like a hole here and you just put them on the egg. So we have little plastic eggs that we put little things inside. Because we've got lots of kids with different dietary requirements, it's often not edible stuff, not chocolate, but things like stickers or little treats or games or all sorts, even little hand-sewn things, maybe like this. So, and these ones are just to go on top of them to make them interesting when they're hidden. And here's some others from other patterns I found. This one's kind of a thinner one for a small egg. This one actually fits on a boiled egg quite well. I've done a test. You can see it's got this little hair. And then this one is a bit bigger. And again, I've just been trying out the different patterns to see what works and what I like. And so all of these little bits and bobs, just little Easter, again, they're just made in just some yellow acrylic that I had left over. I think they're going to be really fun. So in between other projects, I've been knitting up a whole bunch of little Easter egg toppers and goodies and little things like that. I don't know, maybe it's silly. I don't know if the kids will actually notice that much, but it makes me feel good because it makes me feel like I'm doing something nice for them and trying in some way to make up for the terrible time that is still ongoing for them. And yeah, so it feels good. It feels good to do something. Right, I'm going to finish with a tiny bit of acquisitions. When I ordered the Hobby Diablo multi, I wanted to order something else, just a sort of small quantity of something else to put it over the thing for free shipping. Does anyone else do that? I don't know if I'm just being a bit scammed by that, but the shipping is quite expensive, so it feels worth it instead of spending that money on shipping, I spent it on yarn. So again, I think I'm having a little bit of a pastel-y moment. It's spring. So I got this Dream Colour 100% wool from Hobby. And this is, I think it's a fingering weight in this. It's a very pastel-y, like a very gentle pastel rainbow colour, which is really pretty, I think. It sort of fades really gradually. It's kind of marled, and so it fades really gradually from one colour to another. There's about 400 metres in each, so about 800 metres altogether. I thought actually this might be quite nice held with a mohair. Just maybe a white or off-white or maybe a pale pink mohair to soften it still further and knit into a pullover. Maybe not for me, maybe for, again, one of the children that I know. There's only 400 metres, which is a smallish amount. I'm not sure. But I just really liked it and it felt like spring. I'm very keen for it to be spring. I've had quite enough winter for now, and I would like sunshine to be back, please. So yeah, I've got all my things of yarn here at the moment, just to kind of cheer me up. Normally they live out in my studio where I do my writing. But I thought it might be worth showing these. I've had these for years and years and years, and this is artisanal alpaca, I think. It's an alpaca 4-ply in all these different colours. I have a little plan for them. I want to knit a Marie Wallen sweater in those colours, using a pink, this pink, which is coming up grey on the video, but this is actually a baby pink, as the main colour, and again, for one of the small children I know. But, well, no, she's not a small child, she's basically a teenager now, so I'm be knitting it in a woman's size, but in my mind she will always be a small child that I know. Yeah, I think that's us about at the end of the crafting content. I've been doing lots of other little bits and bobs, but that's the main things that I have to show you today. So I'm going to finish with another poem as I do. Before I finish, I just want to say I hope you're having the best possible start to the year. It's difficult circumstances for so many people. For me, for you probably, and I think you're still here. You're doing great. So without trying to be sanctimonious or trite, I would like to tell you that you're probably doing way better than you think, and try and give yourself as much of a break as possible at the moment and give yourself space to rest. So this poem is by a wonderful poet called Imtiaz Dhaka, who is a Pakistani Scottish poet. She's a fantastic poet and a really, really, really nice person who is really encouraging to younger or newer writers than her. This poem is one of my favourites of hers, and I think it's so joyful and fun, and I think that's what we need, a bit of joyful and fun. So this poem is called Speech Balloon. The Liverpool boss was pretty chuffed with himself, said the news report, for being so tough when he decided to snub the obvious choice and go instead for the goal machine. I'm over the moon, he said. I'm over the moon, he said. The Barnsley manager was lost for words to describe his feelings when Chelsea fell to the Tykes. We played fantastic. I never thought we'd do it again, but we did, and all I can say is, I'm over the moon, he said. I'm over the moon, he said. The Hollywood mum was way beyond thrilled, according to friends, when she delivered into the world not one bouncing baby, but twins instead, to the astonished dad. I'm over the moon, she said. I'm over the moon, she said. Bollywood's hottest couple was proud to be blessed by the jubilant father, the superstar. It's a match made in heaven, he said to the press, between two shooting stars with shining careers. And I'm over the moon, of course, he said. I'm over the moon, he said. The Malaysian nation went mad with joy on Independence Day in its 50th year when a doctor come part-time model, a local boy, went up into space in a Russian Soyuz and in zero gravity performed his namaz. All of Malaysia over the moon, they said on the news. 27 million people over the moon. You must have noticed. It's really quite clear. This condition has spread. It's happening there. It's happening here. It's full-blown, grown beyond every border, to the furthest corner of every country where English is spoken or English is known. There's no one just satisfied, or mildly pleased, or chipper, or chirpy, contented, or cheerful. No one glad or gratified, delighted or jubilant, elated, ecstatic, joyful or gleeful. All the happy people have left this world. You won't come across them anytime soon. And if it's happy sound bites you're looking for, you need to look way over your head for the words in balloons, to the place where the cow keeps jumping over and over, with all the footballers, team managers and lottery winners, world superstars, heroes and champions and legends and lovers and proud mums and dads, and the whole of Malaysia over the moon, over the moon, over the moon. Goodbye.